Today, we're going to talk about the story of Irena Sendler. Now, that's a name you probably don't know, but trust me, it's one that belongs right up there with the greatest heroes of the 20th century. She was a social worker who, during the Holocaust, saved over 2,500 children. It's a story of just unimaginable courage in the face of absolute evil.
But before we really dive in, I want you to ask yourself this question, and be honest. What would you risk? Your job? Your home? What about your own life? Or the lives of your family? Keep that in your mind as we go, because the stakes in this story could not possibly be higher.
So our story doesn't begin at the start of her life. No, we're jumping right into a moment of extreme crisis, a single event that puts everything she'd been working for, everything she believed in, completely at risk.
Picture this. It's Warsaw, Poland. It's deep in the heart of World War II. The city is under the brutal thumb of the Nazi regime, and a knock at the door is almost never good news.
For Irena Sendler, that knock means the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police, has found her. As they burst in, the 33-year-old social worker pulls off one last desperate move. She shoves a small bundle to a friend, who quickly hides it. And that bundle? It contains her most dangerous secret, a list with the real names of the 2,500 Jewish children she has smuggled to safety. So how did this young woman end up on the Gestapo's most wanted list, risking absolutely everything to defy an entire empire? Well, let's rewind a bit and see how this incredible rescuer was forged.
You know, Irena's moral compass was set really early on. Her father was a doctor who died from typhus he caught treating poor patients, many of them Jewish, that other doctors just refused to see. And get this, the local Jewish community then offered to pay for her education. Later, when she was at the University of Warsaw, she actively protested the segregation of Jewish students onto these so-called ghetto benches. Yeah, you could say defiance was in her blood.
And before the war even began, this was her life's work. She was already a social worker, dedicating herself to Warsaw's most vulnerable people. So her wartime heroism wasn't some sudden out-of-the-blue thing. It was really just a continuation of who she had always been.
And this brings us to the very heart of her story, an operation of such breathtaking audacity that it would later become known by a simple but incredibly powerful name: Life in a Jar.
Now look closely at this slide, because it spells out the danger so clearly. This isn't just a poster, it's a death warrant. In German-occupied Poland, the penalty for giving any kind of aid to a Jewish person, we're talking a piece of bread, a place to hide for a night, was immediate execution, for you and for your entire family.
And this is who was at stake. Inside the walls of the Warsaw Ghetto, 400,000 people were trapped. Irena used her social worker credentials to get inside, and she saw the starvation, the disease, the total despair firsthand. She knew she had to do something.
Now, she wasn't alone. Irena joined Smuggled, a secret Polish resistance group dedicated to helping Jews. Using the codename Jolanta, she quickly became the head of its children's section, organizing this whole network of dozens of volunteers, most of them women, by the way.
Their methods were as desperate as they were brilliant. Children were sedated and smuggled out in boxes, hidden inside ambulances, carried out in coffins, and even guided through the city's filthy sewer system. Once they were out, they were given new identities and placed with Polish families or in convents. And through it all, Jolanta kept those secret records.
And this is the part that just shows her incredible foresight. She wrote down each child's original name and their new identity on thin tissue paper, sealed the lists inside glass jars, and then buried them under an apple tree. Her hope wasn't just to save their lives. It was to save their identities, to maybe one day reunite them with any relatives who might have survived.
Which brings us right back to that knock on the door in October of 1943. Let's return to our arrest and see what happened next.
After her arrest, Irena was taken to the infamous Pałak prison. They brutally tortured her, breaking her legs and her feet, but she revealed nothing. Not a single name, not a single address. She was sentenced to death, but as she was being led to her execution, Smuggled pulled off a last-minute miracle. They bribed a guard who let her escape into the night. She survived the war, but her story? Well, it didn't really. In post-war communist Poland, heroes from the non-communist underground were inconvenient. So for decades, Irena Sendler's incredible story of saving an estimated 2,500 children remained almost completely unknown to the rest of the world. Her story might have been lost to history forever if it wasn't for a truly unexpected discovery that happened half a world away.
So, in 1999, 4 high school students in rural Kansas stumbled upon a brief mention of Irena's work while doing a history project. They were stunned, so they dug deeper and they wrote a short play to share what they had found. They called it Life in a Jar.
And that play was a sensation. It brought Irena's story roaring back to life. Now, she had been honored in Israel as righteous among the nations way back in 1965, but it was really this student project that kicked off a wave of global recognition late in her life, including Poland's highest honor.
And this is the ultimate legacy. Here you see an elderly Irena Sendler, and she's surrounded by adults who owe their lives to her. These are the Sendler children, living proof of what one person's courage can achieve. It's just an incredibly powerful image.
But for all she did, Irena never saw herself as a hero. Her own words capture her spirit best. Every child saved with my help is the justification of my existence, not a title to glory. Her humility was just as profound as her courage.
And that leaves us with a final thought. Irena Sendler's story was nearly lost forever. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other stories of incredible courage are still out there, buried in the past, just waiting for someone to find them? Who are the unsung heroes we have yet to discover?